Welcome back to Cryptos R Us. I'm George. We're all George. So happy Monday. We're starting out the week, but you got to brace for volatility. There are some big things happening this week, including a major speech that everyone will be looking forward to. So let's discuss these things and let's discuss what's going on with Bitcoin today. All right, let's do it. Welcome, guys. We're starting out not bad. 58.7 today, a little bit lower than yesterday. Overall, we're still going sideways. It does seem like the crypto market is still waiting for something. Or you could think of it as still being suppressed by something, right? But let's see. This week, we're starting out barely in the green. Barely in the green. And we got, like I said, a lot to look forward to this week. Okay. The biggest speech has to be on Friday. And I alluded to this last night with my Sunday walk video. But we do have a couple other things. We have a couple of FOMC members talking. But Wednesday, I think, is also interesting. FOMC meeting minutes, right? This is going to be showcasing what was discussed in the meeting in July, where a lot of people thought that they should have cut the Fed fund rate, which they didn't. But Fed Chair Powell did say that they really thought about it during the meeting, right? So maybe something comes out of it that they haven't shared that could actually be a big catalyst. Maybe something comes out that indicates that for sure they're going to be very aggressive from here on out with rate cuts because they're afraid the economy has gotten too bad. Something like that. So Wednesday could be interesting. Sometimes FOMC meetings don't mean a whole lot, but this one can because everyone's trying to figure out how drastic the cuts will be, right? Starting with the very first one next month in September. And then, of course, we had Fed Chair Powell going to Jackson Hole, and, it's just a place in Montana that looks beautiful with mountains and stuff, but it's almost like a mini FOMC meeting. He's going to be doing a press conference and just sharing, again, just like an FOMC meeting, like what he feels the economy, the state of the economy, what he feels like it's in, and how we're doing, and overall, just give a synopsis of like everything, all things economy based, right? And of course, what the FOMC, the members and himself, how they're going to lean with the next meeting and whether or not they're going to cut. At this point, we know for sure, but the question was how much? 25 basis points or 50 basis points? Don't know. Don't know at this point. In case you're wondering, this is what it looks like in terms of all the Jackson Hole performance or post performance. The last one that he did last year resulted in a 2.5% gain in the S&P 500, which is good. The one before resulted in a negative 3% gain. So inconclusive whether or not, and the one before was positive and the one before that was negative. So it's inconclusive, but you can see if you go all the way back to 2000, there's been more good than bad. So if you had to guess whether or not the markets will rally or dump, I guess, it's better to put your money on the long side than the short side at this point, right? And I do think that he is going to be saying a lot about rate cuts, upcoming rate cuts, which should boost markets. So, yeah, so we have that. Besides Jackson Hole and the Fed minutes, we have, jobless claims that's coming Thursday, and some of the other data like home sales and stuff like that. But the biggest thing is going to be Jackson Hole. The biggest thing is everyone's going to see what he's going to say, right? I think it's going to be good. I don't think he's going to say anything bad. It's not like he's going to say, no, there's no rate cuts. Inflation is still not. No, I mean, we just had inflation data show for the first time in how many years we're at 2.9% inflation. There's nothing stopping it. It's just whether he's going to be super aggressive with a 50 basis point cut or not with a 25 basis point cut, but it's coming. It's coming. All right. Now, what else is coming? Gold. Gold is supposed to be at 3,000 by next year. And for gold, that's pretty good considering it's 2,500 right now. And it's been stuck at 2,000 for how many years? Years upon, like, decade basically, right? So gold going up could be a good thing. Could be a good thing for Bitcoin and for all assets, right? It's a kind of like a precursor of what's to come. If you look at, there's been charts that correlate Bitcoin's movement versus gold and how Bitcoin is just like mimicking gold in its early days, right? Gold is now like maturing, going to mature levels where Bitcoin is still in the parabolic growth stage. I don't know. Just thought that's interesting. What else is interesting is Japanese yen is strengthening again. So that is not good. You don't want, I mean, the whole thing, you could argue, the whole disruption and the market fall and everything that we had was due to the yen strengthening, right? And that's because their central bank decided to raise their Fed fund rate. Yes, raise, not cut. Because they were at negative interest rate for like 8 years, way more than they should have been. So yen strengthening, probably not good. Probably not good. So yeah, we still have some stuff to worry about. But oh yeah, and let's not forget the fear level is still at 28. Yeah, I talked about this in my cruise video. We were at 25. Extreme fear now at 28, still fearful. We're still at the level that we were at 20,000, which makes no sense. Understandable, but makes no sense, right? So yeah, we still got some, we got some fuddish stuff out there. So there's no doubt about it, but hey, if you look past the FUD, you realize that there are a lot of good stuff too. Right? Things that you should pay attention to that will alleviate all the fuddishness away. So let's get to them. Number one, 75% of all Bitcoin has been hodled for over 6 months. 6 months. That's not bad. We're talking about 75% of all Bitcoin in existence. That's really crazy if you think about it. Okay, so if you're just looking at this, it's kind of hard to kind of understand. But if you just look at the hodl waves, right? The longest holders are the ones in purple, and then you have 7 to 10 years, 5 to 7 years, and keep going. Basically, what it comes down to, you got a whole lot of holders, and here's another look at it, right? And basically, you have a lot of holders, and if you're using the hodl waves to measure tops, we're nowhere close to top, right? So if you look at all the previous peaks where there was like 100% holding, and it was just absolute insanity, we're nowhere close to that. We're nowhere close to that. We are still going higher in terms of holding, and that is good. That is what we want to see, right? But right now, what's happening is you have a lot of institutions that are buying and holding. I don't know about retail. Retail, of course, is going up, but not nearly as much or as fast as institutions. And keep in mind, 94% of all Bitcoin has been mined already. There's only 6%. And that's going to be spread out over 100 years. Yes, 100 plus years. I think 2040 is when Bitcoin is done with mining. So everyone's fighting for the last 6% in the next 126 years. everyone now is fighting for, what exists. And out of the 19.7 million, you have at least 6 to 7, if not higher, amount of Bitcoin lost. So really, everyone's fighting for a lot less, right? That's why holding is so important. Accumulation is so important. The more you accumulate, the better you will be in the future. So speaking of those pesky institutions, on Friday, as expected, a lot of them took in a lot of Bitcoin. BlackRock, again, continues to only have inflows, never outflows, but others had good days too. Like Fidelity has 61 million, and then ARK and Bitwise had 12 and 13 million. Grayscale continues to dump. At this point, that's no surprise. They will, I think the plan is to dump to zero. I think that's ultimately the plan. And I don't know why. And they have this new ETF. So they have GBDC and they have a new one just called BDC. And you can see that one's just not inflowing much at all. No one wants to buy Grayscale ETFs. I think everyone's scared by the fact that it's just not a good company anymore. That's just simply it. I mean, they've offloaded 20-something billion worth of Bitcoin, and all of it went straight to BlackRock, and they're still dumping more. So, anyways, outside of Grayscale, though, we still have overall net positive on Friday. And BlackRock, like I said, continues to inflow, and it's not just them. There are a lot of banks that are holding BlackRock's Bitcoin ETF, like Goldman. I've mentioned that many times. 400 million out of nowhere, and other other banks are doing the same thing. They're loading up our ETFs, and they're advising their wealth clients to load up, right? So obviously, a lot of institutions and wealthy individuals and funds and sovereign funds and companies are all loading up. Australia's Bitcoin ETF continues to load up too, very slowly though, going up by 1 Bitcoin per day, almost like El Salvador, right? Adding DC at 1 Bitcoin per day. I mean, they're doing the same thing. It's still, $10 million worth, right? It's small, especially compared to Wall Street, but hey, it all adds up. Hong Kong has theirs, Australia has theirs, Canada's ETFs are huge. No one's paying attention to them. And other countries are getting ETFs as well, right? So slowly it's adding up. Now, as for this cycle, right, we know that, hey, short term, there's volatility, right? This week, we have Jackson Hole to worry about. We have the Fed minutes to worry about, right? Maybe, we got the yen to worry about. We got a lot of things to worry about. But what we don't have to worry about is how Bitcoin moves basically the same way every single cycle, okay? Now, there's one deviation from this cycle versus previous cycles. We have never, ever, ever broken through the previous high prior to an halving event. So if you're looking at this and you're looking at the first 100 days, you're like, George, this cycle looks different because the first 100 days, we didn't go up. We didn't start rising, right? The reason being, we were already ahead of the game. 100 days in the last 3 cycles did not even break through previous highs. It took about 200 days, 250 days to break through. We broke through months before the halving event, right? So we've been going sideways. That's why it shows with the last 100 days, we've been just kind of going sideways and trending down a little bit. That's because we're way, way, way ahead compared to previous cycles. However, if you look at the average days to all-time high is about 445 days. And you guys remember what happened in 2021 when we shot up from the low of $3,800 to $69,000. And the cycle before that, we shot up from $3,000 to, no, from $1,000 to $20,000, right? They happen. And this cycle, it's going to be the same thing. Our low of this cycle is 15,000. So where we're going to end up? Maybe next cycle, I'll be talking about, remember Bitcoin in the 2025 cycle, we went from $15,000 to $250,000. That would not be outrageous. That would actually make a whole lot of sense if you look at all the previous movements we had before, right? So you got to stay strong. You got to ignore the FUD, like I've been saying. There will be volatility. I mean, just look at these charts. There's a lot of up and downs. It's not just a forever upwards parabolic rise, but we're getting there. We're getting there. And you certainly don't want to miss out on it. And here's another reason why you want to hold strong, because the global money supply is about to increase. We've been stuck at the same money supply globally for a long, long time, 100 trillion, give or take, all right, since 2021. But now you see it's starting to tick up. And look at the times before when the money supply started ticking up globally. Bitcoin, they correlated to Bitcoin's biggest rises, right? So here's another reason why. When the money starts flowing, that's when assets like Bitcoin and crypto start going upwards. So it's all aligning, if you think about it. It's all aligning to just next month or a month after that. If you're looking at the halving event, that's usually when things start moving around the October timeframe, September-October timeframe. You're looking at the rate cut that's coming. That's going to be September. You're looking at a global money supply starting to go up, right? And you got a presidential election that's coming up in a couple months too. And you got rate cuts all over the place too, not just in the U.S. I mean, it's all aligning, okay? This is a perfect storm right now. We may be going sideways right now, or we might be in a stale period, but that's quite okay because the parabolic phase is coming. Yeah, here's a chart that shows the parabolic phase coming. Inverse head and shoulders. No, this is short term. This is going to push us back to 70K. And then, of course, what's going to happen after 70K? Well, after 70K, that's anyone's guess. 80, 90, 100,000 next stop by the end of this year? I think so. I think we're going to be 6 digits by the end of this year. I really believe that. With 4 months left, we know Bitcoin within a single month can go up 20, 30,000. I think we will be in 6 figures by the end of this year. And then we keep on building from there all the way up to $200, $300, $400,000 by the end of 2025, right? And the last thing I'll show you is this, Ethereum gas fee. Well, what does that have to do with Bitcoin? Well, Ethereum gas fee is the lowest it's been in like many years. There's 2 reasons for this. One is capitulation of the retail investors with alts, right? Which is also a bottom indicator. And 2, the strength of other alts like Solana that's taking over. So you could see this one of 2 ways. All right. That's about it. Let's see. Today's market, green. You have MicroStrategy up today. Coinbase down. MicroStrategy up. NVIDIA up. Tesla up. We'll see. We'll see if these flip into the green. GM lays off 1,000 salaried employees. Carl Icahn being charged by the SEC. All right. That's it. Let's do some Q&A. Morning, everyone. I see Tom is in here. Tom, morning. Let's see if I missed anything else. Free. Someone named Free says November 2025 is the historic peak for all-time high. That sounds about right. November is good. November is good. Roman's asking, how do you think ApeCoin would do this cycle? Very poorly. New all-time high by Christmas. Market, according to Valentine, no doubt about it. I think we're going to hit new high way earlier than Christmas. But, again, I would not be surprised we end the year at 100, 110, 115,000 by the end of this year. Joel Amos, what are your thoughts of the upcoming Cardano Chang hard fork? I have no thoughts about it. I really don't. If you're asking me, I think it's go pump Cardano, the answer is no. Fifth Nail said, originally George said September high, but it came much sooner. Yeah, it came sooner than I ever thought, or anyone ever thought. Right? If you look at, this was last year. If you look at, traditionally, if you look at, just go look at the chart, zoom out, and you look at when Bitcoin traditionally moves, it's right around September, October, after the halving event, right? But this year, obviously, we had a mini rally right around March, and things blew up, mostly due to hype around the ETFs and all the buying. Even though I said ETFs are going to be very good for markets, a lot of people doubted that, said, no, ETFs not going to make any difference. No, when you have billions upon billions being bought and now sitting in those ETFs, they definitely make a difference. Am I bearish on Cardano? No, just not bullish. I'm just neutral. What do you think about Polkadot and FET? I have hope in FET, not so much in Polkadot. Even though they're doing Polkadot 2, I don't know if it's going to make any difference for them. BTC had to be at 61K by full moon. Now it's not, so it's dumping more. I don't think that has anything to do with it. Get rid of the 1 hour here. Hey, XRP's up today. XRP fans should be happy about that. Creepy crypto sheeps, no. No, I don't. And who's to say that her administration won't embrace crypto either? I don't think you could just make that argument. Seijo, do you expect Bitcoin to go to all-time high before alt season? Yes, that's always the case. True altcoin season. Does it mean that we can't have mini altcoin seasons where it goes up tremendously. We've seen periods like that, but true altcoin season happens for a very short amount of time, normally at the end. Is it too late to get into ton? No, I don't think so. Do you think Bitcoin could reach 300K this cycle? I don't know. I like to think so, but I'm gonna be a little bit more conservative. I think Bitcoin hits at least 150. Okay, anything past 150 is you know is a gift. But realistically, can we break through 150, head to 200? Yes. 225, 250? Yes. I don't know if we can go higher than 250. 300? Possibility? Sure. If Bitcoin goes to 125K Soul Bull, Soul's going to 2,000. Your 400, 500 is way off. Andra's asking about Nervos, old dead project. Winnie says Bitcoin cannot even hit 100K this year. That's where you and I disagree. It will. No one thought we would hit 73K in March either. Think about that. We were sub 20,000, 30,000 in September. And within 6 months, we went to 73,000 in March. Tell me that didn't blow away your expectations for this year already. And if we are able to hit 73K by March, don't tell me that we can't hit 100K by December. Praveen asks, what's your take on these blue chip alts like Dot, Atom, Litecoin, Matic? Are they still relevant? They seem to be making new lows again. You know, I wouldn't categorize them as blue chips. Blue chips, in my mind, are ones that have been around for a while and ones that are still doing good. Litecoin kind of does not fit that anymore. Dot also, man, I just don't view. I'm not a big fan of Dot. I'm neutral on Atom and Matic now because I don't really have anything against Atom, but they're very inflationary, and obviously that's having a toll right now. Matic also, they're being disrupted by all the other L2s, so I'm more neutral on Atom and Matic now. I'm bearish on Dot and Litecoin. I just don't see any point to them. Good idea to start DCAing to Render. Never a bad idea. Render out. It exceeded my expectations. I used to hate Render because when it was on Ethereum, it made no sense. Renting GPU power on a slow network that was very costly made 0 sense. But once they moved to Solana and they changed their tokenomics, it makes a whole lot of sense. But you know, I was very down on them, but they made some good moves. What do you think about a project with the potential to onboard millions of people in crypto, but still below 5 million and working on the app? That's been said about 2 million projects already. That's like saying, oh, I have an idea that has potential to onboard millions of people into crypto. Until you actually onboard millions of people, it means nothing. What happened to Fire Dancer and Soul is still coming. They're working on it. They are working on it. Can empower. I'm not going to say that because I don't believe in that. Zap Ingram says, I really liked your Sunday drive video. It was Sunday walk video. So it's Saturday crypto cruise and Sunday walk. I enjoyed the Saturday crypto cruise. It was my first one, so I was not in the rhythm yet. But I'm gonna make it more seamless. So it's like showcase the car a little bit and also talk crypto. And I gotta make sure my topics for Saturday and Sunday are different too. But yeah, every single week it's gonna be different. This week I have two cars, a Wrangler 392 and an IS 500. So I have to pick which one. Dave, Dave, just check yourself. Dave B says, can't help but chuckle at those that think Bitcoin will be 100K this year, let alone next year. It'll be lucky to hit 70K again this year. Do you know how many times it hit 70K this year, Dave? It wasn't just like a quick blip. We were above 70K for many, many weeks, and we hit it several times. So your rationale doesn't even make any sense. You're probably one of those that say, well, we'll never even break 69,000 this cycle. You probably said that before. I bet if I look through your old history, that's something that you would say. And we weren't. We were at 70K just like a month ago. It wasn't even like 6 months ago. It wasn't like all the way back in March. We were at 70K not too long ago. So I don't know why you're so bearish. And if you are, why are you even here? Why don't you just sell and give your Bitcoin to the rest of us instead of trying to be Debbie Downer in here? Yeah, see, I'm looking at your old chats here. It's the same thing. You're so bearish. There's no point of you being in here. That's why. You sold at 70K, so you're really, really, really hesitant. Or no, not hesitant. You really are nervous and afraid that it's going to go above 70K because you don't want to be missing out, right? But anyways, you're getting banned from this channel. You're getting banned from this channel forever, permanently, for being a total bear and not having good vibes. Yeah, I bet he never had any to begin with. He's just making that shit up. Someone said in the chat, it's hard for Sol to hit 1K according to market cap. I think people have to realize that market cap in crypto is very, very, very inflated. Okay. Besides Bitcoin, which makes a whole lot of sense at 1.1 billion market cap, a lot of these others make no sense whatsoever. Okay. So they will go to crazy market caps. So let's not forget XRP once upon a time briefly surpassed Bitcoin's market cap. Made no sense whatsoever. So, the rationale that, oh, if Sol goes too high, the market cap's too big and it wouldn't happen. And you know what? Crazy things happen in crypto. Market caps are highly inflated. Does not mean that there's actually that much money in these projects. So as long as within reason, it can happen. So for example, like right now, Solana is at 66 billion, right? Let's just do times 10. So that would put Solana at $1,400. That would be 666 billion. Is that unreasonable? No. That's roughly double of Ethereum. Ethereum was at that. Ethereum was at 5,000 or close to 5,000. Ethereum was close to 600 billion in the last peak. So why couldn't Solana be at that number this peak, right? And by then, Bitcoin is not going to be at 1.1 billion. It'll be at like 6 billion, 7 billion. It'll still be 10 times higher than Solana. So that's all within reason, right? Now, if you're telling me Solana's going to go to 14,000 by this cycle at 6.6 billion, yeah, that's unreasonable for, that's unreasonable for this 6.6 trillion. That's unreasonable for this cycle. But maybe not for next cycle. Again, everything, all the market cap in crypto is like super off. It's super, super inflated. But if you compare it to everything else that we've seen before, it's within reason. I mean, when XRP was at $4, man, when it hit that brief 370, 380, it surpassed the market cap of Bitcoin. It was the only time, I think, in Bitcoin's history where an alt actually briefly surpassed it in market cap. It was crazy. That FOMO peak in 2018 was unlike anything we've ever seen. Doesn't mean that we won't see it again with something else. Maybe. Lowe's, is there even enough wealth circulating the globe? You know what? I'll tell you how much cash there is. Where's one of these? There's $105 trillion on the planet. 105 trillion. Obviously, just a small portion of that coming in will cause things to blow up. Just 1%. 1% of that is 1 trillion. That would literally double market caps. No, that wouldn't send it. Just, again, those market caps are highly inflated and does not mean that there's that much money into the market. But still, if you look at overall market cap, we're at 2 trillion, right? If you had 1 trillion of cash come in, it would probably send this up, not by a trillion. It will send it up by way more than that. 3 or 4 trillion probably. Do you know how much money 1 trillion is? I can't even fathom it. Okay, 1 billion is already large enough. 1 trillion, and that's less than a percentage. Less than 1% of the total money in existence on the planet. Imagine if just 1% of that came into crypto. That would cause everything to go up by 3 to 4x. I don't know the exact math, but it's going to go a lot. 1 trillion's crazy. David Guyton. You can't have Dave back, but you can have me. I always appreciate you being here, man. No, once I ban someone from a channel, I never bring them back. So that's why. Don't piss me off. Don't try to be a jackass. Don't try to be a smartass, especially when I'm not in a good mood, because once I put down that ban hammer, there's no appeal process. You're gone forever. People have tried. People have begged me to come back. I'm like, nope. You deserve it. See, like this Hin guy in here trying to be a jackass. All right, he's gone forever. What if Dave donates $70,000? No. First of all, he can't because supposedly he's sold. And second of all, no. You should do wheelchair Mondays. That's just very insensitive, man. Bangkok Jack. And second of all, no, I'm not going to be doing a house tour. No, I'm not going to do that. Last question. Do you think once retail comes back in, they will buy Doge again? I think they will. It's still on all the big exchanges, so yes, it'll come back. Will it get to 70 cents again? Probably. But can it hit like $1 or $2? I don't know. I think it'll at least get back to their previous high, but in terms of doing a multiple from there, I don't quite know since there's so many other memes now. Celestia. I think they still have a chance. I think they're still promising. Anyways, guys. So stay strong, stay focused. A lot of good things still happening in the space, but prepare or brace for volatility. There will be volatility this week for sure, especially with the Fed minutes and with Jackson Hole. So stay strong. I'll see you guys tonight, 8:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. Have a good one. Take care. Bye-bye.